Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into an intriguing sci-fi action thriller called Real Playing Game. As always, a heads up, there will be spoilers ahead. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's explore this fascinating story together. Our story kicks off with Steve Battier, a billionaire who seems to have seen it all. He arrives at a secluded private airport, whisked away by a sleek, futuristic car driven by a mysterious woman. They head to the headquarters of a company called Real Playing Game, or RPG for short. This isn't your typical tech company. RPG specializes in a groundbreaking field, geriatric neurology. Steve is greeted by Mr. Chan, the head of operations at RPG. During their conversation, we learn about RPG's revolutionary technology. They've developed a way to transfer the memories and consciousness of elderly individuals into the bodies of younger people, effectively letting them relive their youth, if only for a few hours. This process involves putting the elderly into a deep, medically induced sleep, while their minds are temporarily transferred to these youthful bodies, which are placed in a simulated environment. It sounds like the ultimate escape from old age, right? But there's a twist. Mr. Chan reveals an exciting new development, a high-stakes game. RPG has 10 wealthy clients who have signed up to experience this procedure. However, instead of simply enjoying a few hours in their new bodies, these participants will compete in a game where only one will emerge victorious. The others? Well, they'll face elimination within the simulated reality. While this might sound deadly, rest assured, their real bodies remain unharmed. Steve, intrigued yet cautious, learns that the stakes are high. Only the last person standing will enjoy the full 10-hour experience of youth. Despite his initial hesitation, Steve is convinced to join the game, viewing it as an escape from his mundane life. He pays the hefty fee and is led to a room filled with several young bodies. After careful consideration, he chooses a tall, handsome man and prepares for the transfer. Once the process begins, Steve wakes up in the middle of an eerie, abandoned colony of residential homes. He has all his memories intact, but is clueless about how he ended up in this strange place. As he explores, he notices other participants beginning to wake up in various locations across the colony. They all seem disoriented, with no memory of how they got there or who the others are. Steve soon encounters another player, a young woman who also appears to be lost. They cautiously introduce themselves, realizing they have no choice but to stick together in this strange environment. Not long after, they meet more participants, all in the bodies of young people, but with minds full of memories from their past lives. As the group gathers, tensions start to rise. It's clear that while they share a common predicament, they each have their own motives and strategies. Their initial goal is to figure out where they are and what they're supposed to do. But the situation takes a dark turn when a hologram of Mr. Chan appears, explaining the rules of the game. Mr. Chan's hologram lays out the harsh reality of their situation. The participants are informed that they are not merely in a game, but in a survival challenge with lifelike consequences. Each one of them is in the body of a young person, but their original identities are hidden behind these avatars. Mr. Chan explains that to win, they must be the last person standing, and every hour, one of them must be eliminated, or the game itself will randomly choose a participant to be taken out. The shock among the group is palpable. As if that wasn't enough, Mr. Chan also reveals their true identities in a tantalizing twist. These aren't just any random wealthy individuals. They are some of the most powerful and famous people in the world. From a Chinese billionaire and an ex-KGB Russian tycoon, to a Hollywood star and even a reclusive singer. The range of identities is vast. But here's the catch. Their identities are now jumbled within these young bodies, making it nearly impossible to know who is who. To add to the confusion, there's a dangerous rule. They can only eliminate another player if they correctly guess their real-life identity. Guess wrong, and the person guessing could face dire consequences. It's a psychological thriller from this point on, where trust is a rare commodity, and everyone is a potential threat. The group decides to search for a way out, but their efforts are futile. They discover that the colony is surrounded by a high-voltage wall, trapping them inside. Steve, with his sharp instincts, figures out the danger just in time, preventing another participant from being electrocuted while trying to escape. This heightens the tension, making it clear that there is no easy way out. As the first hour ticks down, uncertainty and fear grip the group. Some participants begin to form alliances, hoping that numbers might offer some safety. Others, however, start playing more aggressively, trying to figure out who their opponents really are. We see the group split up, with smaller cliques forming. Steve, meanwhile, aligns himself with the young woman he first met, trying to navigate this treacherous game together, but the game's deadly nature soon reveals itself. In a tense standoff near the electric wall, one of the participants is brutally killed by another, sparking panic among the group. The killer quickly rushes to identify the real-life counterpart of their victim to avoid punishment. They make a correct guess, and it's revealed that the person killed was actually a famous football star posing as a woman. The horrifying reality sets in. To survive, they'll have to play by the game's cruel rules. With each passing moment, alliances are tested, and strategies evolve. People who seem trustworthy reveal hidden motives, and the body count starts to rise. Steve and his ally, trying to stay under the radar, witness the madness unfold around them. The group's dynamic shifts rapidly. Friendships turn into rivalries, and the fight for survival becomes more intense with every passing minute. Let's jump back into the chaos. With the game now fully underway, the group is more divided than ever. They return to the hologram room, where the brutal realities of the game are confirmed once more. The participants are all on edge, knowing that they must identify each other correctly to survive. One participant, number 10, who has been watching the others closely, decides to take a bold move. She approaches number 3, a young woman who has been keeping her distance from the rest. Using a mixture of charm and manipulation, number 10 engages number 3 in conversation, trying to extract as much information as possible without giving away her own identity. Meanwhile, another participant, number 6, stumbles upon the charred remains of the person who was electrocuted earlier. Terrified by the gruesome sight, he realizes the stakes are higher than he initially thought. Desperation begins to take over, and he decides to take action. He sneaks up on number 8, a blonde woman he saw earlier making out with number 5. Believing that they might have exchanged real identities during their intimate moment, he grabs her and threatens her life, demanding to know who she really is. But the situation spirals out of control quickly. Yet Nanter 5, witnessing the confrontation, remains surprisingly calm, refusing to reveal anything. This only enrages number 6 further, pushing him to make a rash decision. He drags number 8 to the hologram room and, based on his assumptions, decides that she must be the actress Kate Barrington. He brutally kills her, convinced of his deduction. However, his gamble fails. He guesses incorrectly, and as soon as he touches Barrington's hologram, he himself is eliminated by the game. It's a brutal reminder of the game's rules. Guess wrong, and you face immediate death. The tension is now at an all-time high. It turns out number 8 was actually the artist Yasmin Nova, and number 6, the one who killed her, was the African dictator Okot Ba. Elsewhere, Steve and his ally, number 2, continue to stay close. However, tensions are high, and trust is fleeting. They take refuge in an abandoned building, where their shared isolation leads to a moment of intimacy. But the peace is short-lived. Ionescu 2 sees an opportunity while Steve sleeps and tries to attack him. Steve wakes up just in time, and a struggle ensues. He manages to defend himself, inadvertently causing number 2 to fall into a nearby well, resulting in her death. Shaken by the turn of events, Steve heads back to the hologram room to guess number 2's identity. He deduces that she was Kate Barrington, the Hollywood star, based on her behavior and attitude. His guess is correct, and he narrowly avoids the game's deadly consequence. Meanwhile, number 3 and number 10's alliance is also on shaky ground. After an initial moment of bonding, Zhao Nor 10 attempts to strangle Zhao Pan Nor 3, revealing her true intentions. But number 3 manages to escape, injuring number 10 in the process. Now 10, realizing that her cover is blown, rushes back to the hologram room only to be confronted by Noah 7, the young Asian man. In a dramatic turn, number 7, who has been hiding and observing. Reveals that he knows number 10 killed the football star, Jorge Valdez. He confronts her with this information, but before she can react, he pushes her down 2 stories, leading to her death. He then correctly identifies her hologram, revealing that she was the singer Maria Molino. The game is getting more intense by the minute. The remaining participants are beginning to realize that survival is less about brute force and more about psychological warfare, alliances, and quick thinking. Let's wrap up this intense journey. After the series of dramatic events, only a few participants remain. Each survivor is now even more wary of the others, realizing that trust is a rare commodity in this deadly game. The remaining players gather near an abandoned swimming pool, trying to come up with a plan. They propose a temporary truce to let the clock run out until the next hour, hoping that no one else will be killed. However, this fragile peace is short-lived. 7. The young Asian man seems to have figured out who Tanchus 3 really is and decides to take action. He chases her through the colony, forcing her to flee into the hologram building. In a tense confrontation, number 3 stumbles upon a hidden box labeled bonus. Inside, she finds a pistol with 9 bullets, a potentially game-changing discovery. She quickly loads 1 bullet and confronts number 7, who has caught up with her. In a split-second decision, she shoots number 7 in the stomach but decides to leave him alive for now since she's not sure of his true identity. Desperate to take control, number 3 exits the building, pistol in hand, ready to confront anyone who gets in her way. As she moves outside, she hears a shout from number 7, who, despite his injury, has managed to drag himself up. In a shocking move, he throws himself off the building, choosing to end his own life rather than be killed by someone else. This forces number 3 to quickly return to the hologram room and identify his real-life counterpart within the next 15 minutes, or else she will be eliminated. Inside the building, number 4, who had been hiding, sees an opportunity to strike. He ambushes number 3, snatching the gun away from her. But instead of finishing her off quickly, he becomes overconfident, suggesting they could use this situation to their advantage. However, number 3 reveals that she had only loaded a single bullet earlier, and now, with the gun empty, she takes her chance. She grabs a nearby steel rod and stabs number 4, fatally wounding him. At this point, Steve and number 5, who have been nearby, enter the room and see the aftermath of the struggle. Steve quickly grabs the gun, but number 3 holds all the remaining bullets, recognizing that time is running out. Number 3 identifies number 4 as Carlos Santiago, the Colombian playboy. She is correct, and the game continues. But with only a few players left, it's clear that the end is near. Steve and number 5 make a pact to try and survive the game together. They head toward the well where Steve had earlier disposed of the gun, suggesting they avoid any more violence. To prove his commitment, Steve throws the gun into the well, asking number 5 to do the same with his weapon. But Steve had secretly kept a broken glass bottle hidden, ready for one last betrayal. As soon as number 5 turns his back, Steve strikes, stabbing him in the throat and ending his life. With only 2 participants left, Steve heads back to the hologram room and identifies number 5 as Boris Znovrev, the Russian oligarch. He then realizes that the final showdown is upon him. He rushes into the woods where number 3 has tried to hide. Using his charm and persuasion, he convinces her to spend their last moments together peacefully. They share a brief, tense moment. But when her guard is down, Steve makes his final move, stabbing her in the throat with the glass bottle. As the last man standing, Steve is declared the winner of the game. After 10 grueling hours of navigating the dangers of the simulated environment, he is pulled out of the RPG machine and back into his elderly body. Exhausted but exhilarated, he is taken back to the airport by the same futuristic car. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a like to support the channel. Thanks for watching.